It's reported that Sony Japan has been discontinuing some of the PS4s. Now there are select few that they're still making, but they're trying to like stop production on so many because they need to keep up production for the PS5s. Because new generation, it's people, consumers want them. I mean, it's high demand for them. So it seems like we're starting to see like the first signs of like the last generation of consoles starting to dwindle. So, with that being said, like looking back on last gen, how do you guys think about it? Like, do you think down the line you will look at it and be like, man, this is one of the better generations, or how do you feel like it'd be compared to other ones, or just like any type of memories or fondness you can think of when it comes to the PS4, Xbox One generation? So, starting with you, Devin, how do you feel about this?
I mean, with any era, you always the previous era always fades out. I mean, it's no wonder that they're gonna discontinue the PS4 because I mean, one with the new consoles coming out in this past year. I was almost about to say this year, but this past year 2020 is like the pandemic was happening. It was so many factors that I'm surprised even the consoles came out honestly, and even sold as well as they did. Um, Me still, again, I'm gonna wait till the PS5 Pro Slim or whatever comes out till I get one. But if I had to give a grade on this past generation, I would say it was like a solid B plus. Definitely a generation of fighting games. I feel like there's been so many fighting games throughout this generation. It's kind of ridiculous. And it definitely, I feel like it started from the last generation with the PS3 and 360. It's like fighting game just kept coming out the woodwork, left and right, left and right, which was a good thing, definitely for the FGC. But overall, to me, I would still say my personal favorites always PS1, PS2, PS3 was solid. If I had to say, I'd probably give it a B plus, maybe an A. So it's right around there with the PS4 with me. I haven't had any issues. A lot of good games. I mean, actually, let me take it back. PS4 era gets a A plus for me because I just forgot about something. Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, and that game was my personal game of the year, and I enjoyed. I put 150 hours into that game in like 2 seconds. So yeah, the fact that came
I don't
out,
think that
I got
math
an
adds
upgrade
up, man.
grade. Huh?
So I don't think that math adds up, bro.
It adds up, man. I took about 20 seconds, and I had 150 hours in it, man. I was playing boss rush like nobody's business. I was like, I'm going to beat this in under 4 minutes. Then I go on YouTube and see somebody's beating in a minute and two. I'm like, I guess I'm not good. But yeah, I think it was the solid era, solid fighting games, solid games all around. Online's pretty decent. PlayStation Plus has kind of increased its value a little bit, giving you 2 free games every month. So I wouldn't say it's too bad. I hope that this next generation kind of ups it up a little bit. Right now, there's really nothing. Like there's really nothing like Spider-Man and Demon Souls. That's about it.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can keep this ball rolling. And with them, if they can discontinue this PS4s, hopefully they can just kind of work out some kinks. I've been hearing like issues with the controller and stuff for that nature. So maybe they can just, by discontinuing the PS4, they can like focus on what they need to with the PS5 going further. So,
in terms of like the last generation, I would probably give it about, I'd say maybe a B, maybe a B minus at the least. I think. In terms of fighting games, the last gen was pretty good. We had like Devin was saying, we had so many fighting games. We had, of course, you had the Tekken 7, the Soul Calibur 6. We had think like only on one or two only on two consoles we had Street Fighter 5. There were some games that came out that didn't quite catch on. My Hero Academia, My Hero's Justice, like that didn't really catch on. You had like the Dead or Alive game, that was kind of famous, kind of great for a while, and then kind of like fizzled out a little bit. You have a Samurai Showdown, King of Fighters 14, which like I liked, but I mean, I'm a Ryuji Yamazaki fan, so when I saw him in the game, I kind of went insane. But anyway, I would say, yeah, I would give it maybe like a B. I would give last gen a B. I think the best, like I think like the generation before that, like the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 generation, I'll probably give that maybe an A minus, I think. Like that was probably like an A minus, I think, mostly because first off, the PlayStation 3 costed way too much money when it came out. That was what, $600 when it first came out? For what, man? Like
Wasn't it
What,
700?
reason.
60 gigs?
Huh?
Yeah,
Wasn't
you
it
said
700?
it was
Yeah, I
it
think
was somewhere around there.
yeah, it
Six
was
or
like
seven
600, six
for
or
only
seven
like
hundred
60
dollars.
gigs.
Yeah, it 60 gigs, 60 gigs. If somebody gave you a console with 60 gigs right now, you'd be upset. Like you and like you'd deservedly so. Like you'd be like, "What? 60 gigs? I got like a 500 gigs on this card drive and you giving me 60 gigs for $600?" Man, yo, it makes me upset just thinking about it. Yo, there's some people who copped that when it came out, by the way. Anyway, yeah, you have the
I did.
$600 oh man, you hate to see it. And of course, the Xbox 360 and the Red Ring of Death, man. That was just abysmal. It was I mean, I like the Xbox 360, but I have to I gotta say, man, that was one of the worst things that you'll ever see when you turn on your console. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna play some Dead Rising 2 off the record, man. I love this game. And then it just goes, and you see that those three red lights. I'm like, oh no. And towel trick became your best friend back then. Anyway, I would say A minus for that reason. Definitely but I would say last gen probably gets a B minus, something like that. In terms of FGC thing, I would definitely say B plus, but in terms of like overall quality, I would probably say B minus. I think like we had some games like Watch Dogs came out last generation, and Watch Dogs, I'm not saying it was a bad game, but it could have been a lot better. Then of course Watch Dogs Legion just came out like a few months ago, and Watch Dogs Legion could be better. So even at the tail end of the thing, we still like they had one game that didn't quite meet expectations. Then you had Watch Dogs 2, which was phenomenal. And then at the end, at the bookend, you say, "Oh, by the way, we're coming out with Watch Dogs Legion, and you might be able to play that game for an hour before it stops working." So, and then of course, Cyberpunk 2077 came out at the end of last gen, and we all know how that turned out. So, yeah, B minus for last generation.
So PS5 is like whatever. It doesn't exist right now. There's no games.
Exactly.
Yep.
There's no games. I'm not buying. I don't care. Like I'm usually that guy. Like I'm gonna get it because they have Final Fantasy 16 and I have hope at their FF7R. FF7R is like if that's like in case of emergency break glass game for Square Enix. Like they messed up so many times that they're like all right, and they busted it out. So that's fine. PS4, Xbox. What is it? Xbox One? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to give it. That's why I can't give it like an A. Is because Xbox One also doesn't exist. Basically,
Yeah.
so it's like one console is carrying really really hard. So like I can't. The difference between PS4, Xbox One, and PS3, Xbox 360 is like I legitimately owned both before the PS3 and Xbox One. Both for fighting game reasons and like game reasons. So to me that's like an A. Like I'm like I had both and I played games on both. But this gen I only had PS4. And they did a couple things too where like PSN Plus wasn't free anymore. That kind of bothered people.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Meaning NetPlay was not free anymore because the main reason why people got PS3 to play fighting games is because the online was free. On Xbox 360, you had to pay. So now, where with PS4 being the only option, they're like, okay, it's time for you to pay. I know a lot of people, like college kids and stuff, we saw like game share 4 ways on PS3. Now you can't do that anymore. So they did a bunch of stuff, but the games on PS4 that I played were pretty good. This fighting game generation, so I actually assign each generation of fighting games by the main Street Fighter game that's out. So this gen starts with SF5, and it's been pretty good, I would say overall. Even though people have problems with the games, but I think it's been pretty good. The dev support's good. The dev support's been amazing. It's been not been good. It's been amazing compared to the past. A bunch of interesting games have come out of all different varieties: 3D, 2D, anime, slow, like whatever. I think it's like right now is a pretty good time to play fighting games. MK even, not even. Also, I always forget MK. Last gen, so like the Street Fighter 4 gen, I think was a little bit rougher. So the good news is that like a lot of games came out. The bad news was like say me, like I play Blaze Blue. So Blaze Blue is like one of the saddest stories in US FGC. Just like game comes out, everyone says it sucks. So then like you're playing with nobody, and then new version comes out, everyone gets hyped, and then they say it sucks, so no one plays. but they keep coming out with games, so it's fine, you know. And they bought new versions of games that people liked, so like new Marvel, new Street Fighter, new MK, which people wasn't expecting. People didn't expect MK9 to be what it was, which is dope for MK.
Oh yeah.
Super dope for MK. So that's pretty good. So the Street Fighter 3 generation, I know people really like those games. One, Third Strike's really boring. Call me mean, but I think it's boring. And two, there's no dev support. So even though the games are good, people are gonna not play the games, and you're not gonna get updates ever. And the games have really broken stuff in it.
If only that was true.
Despite the games being like classics, they also have their problems, and they're not getting fixed. And there are not a lot of new games coming out. If you wanted a new game, you had to play an anime game, and people don't want to play anime games. So you're kind of struggling. So right now, fighting games, I think I'll give it an A+, even though I have complaints about the games. One, we can play them. Two, they keep coming out with new ones. Three, we'll keep bullying them, and we'll get better netcode in our games. I think it's good right now. Yeah.